Welcome to meeting number 222 of Turning Point Toastmasters. Now, that is a number that would have had David Shepherd, an erstwhile umpire from England, jumping up and down. It's a number that made him nervous. Apparently, in certain parts of United Kingdom, it is considered an unlucky number. So he would do a hopscotch every time a batsman was on 1-1-1 or 2-2-2 or 3-3-3. Although I'm pretty sure that 3-3-3 occasions were pretty rare. But that bit of trivia aside, let's get started with our meeting. Let's have a huge round of applause first of all. Let's get those hands exercised. And it's so nice to see a lot of you clapping for me. Thank you for the adulation. I am Rupinder and I will be your Sergeant at Arms for today. And I will start by reciting the club mission statement. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Clap once again because I remembered it all by heart. Yay. You're now inside the code of conduct of a Toastmasters meeting, and as such, a few rules apply to you. Please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and it may not be possible to pause or stop the recording. Audience, please be advised that any behavior that results in the disruption into the flow of the meeting will result to your immediate removal without any warning. Please ensure that your noise-making devices are either switched off or on silent mode, which reminds me that my WhatsApp window is making noises and I need to mute it. And I just did that. Please speak responsibly when it comes to religion, sex, and politics. As far as possible, keep your videos on, just like I have kept my video on, and I see a lot of you have kept your videos on. Keep your audios off and applause flowing throughout. I do not like to mute people out of turn. Toastmaster of the day, table topic master, and general evaluator. Please ensure a smart audio video check before handing over to respective role players. Please rename yourself as your role player, your name, your club name. You may omit the club name in case you are a member of Turning Point Toastmasters. I have to rename myself as the grammarian. Please acquaint yourself with the role of the timer. The timer will either use background change or screen sharing to indicate your timing using one of three cards. Green means that you've reached range minimum. Yellow means that it's a good time to start concluding. Red means that you've reached range maximum and you have only 30 seconds or you will be disqualified. Individual session timings will be explained in due course. We encourage you to use the Zoom emoticons, and much as I love the fact that you guys clapped for me, I am going to have an applause for myself. There, I just used a Zoom emoticon. It is that simple. Please use it as much as possible. Not this one, but the other ones also. We sincerely request you not to send chat messages to a speaker while he is speaking or she is speaking on stage. It distracts them. Reiterating, please stay on mute until specifically requested to do so. Now, if I were to encapsulate these rules inside one sentence, it would be the kind of audience you want for yourself. Polls will be launched after each section and they will be closed after 30 seconds. I would now like to introduce the presiding officer, and given the topsy-turvy experiences we have had with role changes, some people backing out of roles and some people coming back into their roles and others deciding to do the roles at the drop of a hat, I thought that he would be a beleaguered, flustered person. But here he is, calm and composed, as always, speaking to you through a microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and my privilege to spotlight Anshuman Mishra, who to me is one of the most resilient Toastmasters that I know. All the best, Anshuman. Make it rock.
Thanks a lot, distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder. Resilience is something I've developed through being part of this club for almost 2 years now. And today's credit for filling all the roles just primarily goes to our brilliant ex-president and current VP Education, Unique Katnoria. So thanks a lot, Unique, for handling so many changes in roles today that it's almost filling up 3 meetings at a time in just one day. But thanks a lot again. Today we have a very beautiful weather around in Delhi, and for me, every time this Thursday evening presents like an opportunity to just sit around in a virtual setting and have a conversation with all of us. Today, being a panel host later in the evening, I look forward to that. At the same time, I look forward to the interesting theme we have for the evening by like super resilient Toastmaster Priyamvada, who despite cough and cold has brave to share her experience on banking with all of us today. I look forward to that. Banking just reminds me of the different bank systems we have across the world. In India, we take the digital banking a lot for granted, but I had the opportunity to go to Dublin around 2 to 3 years back. They haven't switched to the digital banking system. So for example, if you have to get a check or you have to know what is the amount left in your bank, you have to stand in a queue similar to us standing in the queues since 90s, and it takes almost 3 to 4 hours to get that done. Just imagine. So a lot of little things which we can be grateful about in India, we don't realize till we spend time in areas where such opportunities are not available. Joining us today are quite a few guests. I can see, first of all, Padma. Thanks a lot, Padma, for joining and taking up the evaluator role. We have Surjit from our sister club. We have Mehul. Thanks a lot, Mehul, for being a general evaluator. Means a lot to us. We have Prerna. We have Rishabh. So Rishabh is joining for the first time in a Toastmaster setting. Excited for you to experience that, Rishabh. Welcome to this club. We have Sagarika, we have Amit, and we have Diana. So a lot of guests today. I hope you all have an amazing time as always. And leaving no time aside, as you would have already guessed, we have the host for the evening, a star banker and an amazing mother, which I realized hearing from her speech last time. I'd like to call upon the stage the brilliant, the awesome Toastmaster Priyamvada as a Toastmaster today. Over to you, Toastmaster Priyamvada.
Thank you, Anshuman. Thank you for increasing my confidence so much. So, good evening, Toastmasters. I'm sure most of you must have paid your first visit to a bank in childhood with your parents or someone else, or for opening a student's account, or for an education loan, haven't you? So I would love to hear one or two of your first experiences or your perception about bank or its staff. Any one of you who would like to share? Unique?
I can
Hi,
share. I
Rupinder.
remember.
Yeah.
I can share. So these were the days when we were applying for IIT entrance examinations, and that is 1990, 91. And I'm pretty sure you were not born around that time. But getting a
I
bank
was
draft,
born in 1991.
getting a bank draft meant that you had to go at something like 9 o'clock in the morning, fill out a form, and then come back at 12:30 again to get your bank draft. And it also meant that if you were filling it out for something like IIT, you better do it at least 2 weeks in advance, because we did not have courier services. IIT did not accept couriers. They did not even accept speed post, by the way. So it had to go through snail mail. So those were very interesting days, by the way.
Though most of the things are still the same, Rupinder. They still don't accept, most of the colleges still don't accept those, and they accept drafts and everything. So I see Padma raising his hand. I would love to know his experience. Yes?
Yeah. So back in the time when we didn't have this online banking and ATMs and all that, one had to visit one's branch in order to do the transaction. not even any branch of the bank, that specific branch where you have your account. However, it used to be such a pleasant experience because you could kind of predict whom else you would meet from the neighborhood. And it was more like a social event. Getting to the bank and spending time there talking to people was more like a visit to the park during the hot day you spent inside the office. And, though it was not air conditioned during those times, still it was a nice, neat environment in which you could sit and chat with friends for some time. So it used to be an occasion that we used to look forward to. Going to the bank was never a hurried affair. It was more like, going to meet friends. So that's my memory of banking in the early days.
Possible now also. Quite more possible. I have seen social meetings in a bank more often. Mehul, what would you like to say?
Let me add a millennial view as well as into the banking picture. But I'll just take you down to very young child. So I live in Faridabad and there is a SBI main branch very close to my house. And my parents had their account in that bank. And every time they had to do anything, I would voluntarily go, okay, I'll come accompany you guys and to withdraw that, because that would mean a Cheetos time, a chewing gum time, a toffee time for me. You won't believe the line. If this is the entrance gate, all the way out of the entire bank gate, on the main road, there was this main tea stall from where I used to buy Cheetos. So you had to stand in that very long line. And I had never experienced it. I decided I am not opening an account in SBI's main branch. I would just go to another bank and get my account as a child. That was my memory with my parents, into the banking system. Over to you, Premada.
SBI is still the most crowded one, I must say. It is. Every branch of SBI is overcrowded with people. So mine was like, what a boring place. Leave television, not even an interesting person to watch, not even an interesting face to see. So that was my experience about a bank when I used to visit. So, let's move on now. I will explain to you a typical Toastmasters meeting agenda. It consists of 3 sections. We have prepared speeches where the speakers prepare their speeches in advance and deliver them over here. Then we have table topics in which you will be given impromptu topics to express your views at the same moment. Last but not the least is the evaluation section, where you will be evaluated on various aspects and will get a chance to improve. Helping me evaluate the meeting today is our distinguished Toastmaster Mehul. So let's put our hands together for Mehul.
Thank you so
Over
much,
to you, Mehul.
Toastmaster of the day. I am yet to be distinguished, but I just love the feel when you just said it. Thank you so much. I will be responsible for a 360-degree evaluation for this meeting. I will be evaluating along with the tag role players everything that happened right from the beginning to the extreme end. And for this, I will be facilitated by my tag team role players. And these are time for the day will be Toastmaster Unique. I'll quickly explain the timings for the day. For the prepared speech section, speaker 1's speech timings are 5 to 7 minutes with 30 seconds grace on both the ends. Speaker 2, in fact, has a time limit of 20 to 30 minutes with a limit of 30 seconds on either of the ends. And Toastmaster Unique will be sharing the green at 20, yellow at 25, and red at 30. While for 5 to 7 minutes speech, he shall show a green card at 5 minutes, yellow or amber card at 6, and a red at 7. Moving to the next section, that will be the table topic section. In this, the speaker will get 1 to 2 minutes time with a 30 seconds buffer only on the upper hand. So at 1 minute, you'll see a green. At 1 minute, 30 seconds, you'll see an amber. And at 2 minutes, you'll see a red card. And you'll have 30 seconds as a buffer time here towards the end. Then we'll have the evaluators. For the speech evaluators, the time will be 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, the timer shall show a green card. At 2 minutes, 30 seconds, the timer will show an amber card, and at 3 minutes, the timer will show a red card. You have a 30 seconds buffer on both the ends. So you can end early and speak a little more as well. But these are all the timings that we'll be taking note of today. Moving to the R counter for the day. The R counter for the day is Toastmaster Anshu. And Toastmaster Anshu will be responsible for taking account of all the lexical and unlexical words that you speak throughout the meeting. These could be ahs and ums that you go on speaking round and about. It could be short pauses, long pauses, or the filler words. So this repetitive usage of conjunction, like, all right, right. So all these will be taken note by a very brilliant Toastmaster Anshu as an R count for the day. Today, the grammarian for the day is distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder, who will take care of the correct and the incorrect usage of grammar as well as pronunciations. Toastmaster Rupinder, can we have the word of the day? Over to you.
Certainly, Mr. General Evaluator, we can have the word of the day. And since we are talking about banking, I decided that the word of the day today is going to be interesting. Since bank charges us interest, I decided to go with interesting as the word of the day. Now, what does interesting mean? Interesting means arousing curiosity or interest or maintaining attention. Example usage, it is going to be an interesting meeting today. To make things interesting, my wife said fine after an argument. Those of you who are married will understand what that means. I have a challenge for the meeting participants. I challenge that as many table topics we have, we are going to use the word of the day more times than that. So if you have 7 table topics, I'm expecting more than 7 usages of the word interesting. If you have 10, then I'm expecting more than 10 usages of the word interesting. And when I hand it back to you, Mr. General Evaluator, and you say it is an interesting take, that will not count towards the word of the day usage. So on that note, let me hand it back to Mehul Sehgal, our General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder. I shall not say it was an interesting, but you mentioning that I would be ended up saying this just makes it not interesting. Thank you so much. With that, having said that, one additional thing for the grammarian role, we have a very interesting ritual, that is to show a thumbs up. So your thumbs are going to go up a trillion times today for the word of the day that is interesting. So make sure you give virtual thumbs up or the one that I'm giving right now. With this, I will be presenting the entire evaluation report with the help of my facilitators, my tag team role players in the evaluation section. So you will all see me back popping up on the spotlight window towards the end of the meeting. And with this, I would like to hand over the stage back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Priyamvada. Over to you.
Thank you, Mehul. Let us now begin with the first section of our meeting, that is the speech section. First speaker for today is Amit. Before I call up Amit on the stage, I would like to call upon his evaluator, who is Surjit. Surjit, can we have an audio video check?
Hello. Hi, good evening.
Yeah, over to you, Surjit.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Amit is going to deliver a speech from Elective Humorous Project from Motivational Strategies Path. The purpose of the project is to begin developing the collection of humorous stories and to present a speech that include humor. Time for speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Good luck, Amit, for your speech. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
So, Amit, here is your speech. As you said that you want to be introduced as speech Toastmaster Amit. Toastmaster Amit, Toastmaster Amit, Toastmaster Amit.
My wife laughed like this when I told her that I want to join the League of Legends like Sachin, Modi. She said, Amit, you want that? Your name should be echoed like Sachin, 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 Sachin. I said, I like yes. Then she said, you want that? Your name should be chanted like Modi, 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 Modi. I said, yes, Mitro. Then she squeezed her eyes and said, first, you need to learn how to strike the balance between Toastmaster Amit and Family Man Amit. And then think of becoming any legend. It hurt my ego and I dropped the idea. But did you see just now how the Toastmaster of the day was chanting my name? Toastmaster Amit, Toastmaster Amit, Toastmaster Amit, Toastmaster Amit. Am I a legend now? My dear marvelous Toastmaster of the day and jealous members. I still remember it was a lazy Sunday and this crazy Toastmaster was all set to join the meeting. I was taking the role of a counter on that day. I joined the meeting after eating hot, spicy, and half-cooked chole prepared by my wife. Ah, it's still paining. Sergeant at Arms stretched his arms and started the meeting. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. My 7-year-old daughter came near me and like an excited and energetic sergeant at arms, she said, good morning, Dad. Let's go for shopping. No one cares about me when I do nothing, but everyone stares at me when I join any Toastmaster meeting. Within few seconds, she narrated all the do's and don'ts about shopping. I did not pay much attention to the sergeant at arms at my home, as sometimes I don't pay much attention to the sergeant at arms during Toastmaster meeting. Within few seconds, my wife entered the room and took charge as president. On the screen, president was pushing everyone for the public speaking. Wow! And off the screen, my wife, as a president, was pulling me for the shopping. Ayyo! I hate presidential rule. Meanwhile, my 3-year-old son sneaked into the room like a guest and was watching everyone very quietly. On the screen, all the guests were introducing themselves, and off the screen, this little cute guest was introducing the long list of demands with me. Choco pie, fruity, cleanch, lollipop. My wife, my daughter, and my son, all three were glaring at me, but I was glued to the screen. From the corner of my eyes, I could see red cards were flashing in everyone's eyes. On the screen, General Evaluator started introducing me. Toastmaster Amit is a very passionate Toastmaster. He never ever misses any meeting. He is the most regular member of our club. I immediately tried to mute the laptop, but I could not mute my cute wife. She shouted, leave the meeting. I said, shh. In the midst of this chaos and crisis, I introduced my role. I persuaded the meeting audience not to use us and ums and be flawless as much as you can. And off the screen, with three us, 2 ums, and 1 long pause, I requested my wife, can we go in the evening? My wife stood up. She was wearing green sari, applying yellow bindi and red lipstick, embodying all 3 timer cards within herself, and then she screamed once again, leave the meeting right now. I said, leave the room right now. She raised her hand. I was in defensive position. She was trying to press the leave meeting button. I was requesting, but she was persisting. She was persisting, and I was requesting. And finally, she pressed the leave button. No! Everyone said yes. My mother, who was listening all these dramas in the next room, immediately rushed into my room. And then there was a pin drop silence. My mother looked at my merciless wife and then at helpless Amit. And then, in a very motivating and encouraging tone, she said, Toastmaster Amit, get up fast. Get up fast, Toastmaster Amit. My eyes popped out and jaw dropped. Like an ideal Toastmaster today, she spotlighted me and I delivered the most pathetic speech of one word. Okay. Everyone said, hooray. After that, I texted to General Evaluator that I won't be able to continue the meeting because of marriage glitch. Oops, technical glitch. Here, the relationship is very poor. Oops, network is very poor. My dear fellow Toastmasters and guests, since very first day of joining Toastmaster, I am struggling to strike the balance between Toastmaster Amit and family man Amit. Many times I thought that I would take a break from my Toastmasters so that I can focus on family planning. Oh, I mean family. But whenever I see a tagline of Toastmasters, that is where leaders are made, then the leader within me motivates me not to quit, but to learn how to strike the balance between my mind and my heart, between my action and my intention, between Toastmaster Amit and family man Amit. Over to contest chair. Thank you.
Very interesting use of props, Toastmaster Amit, I must say. It drew our attention, everyone's attention, I guess. So here, you guys might have definitely, here we have a small pause for feedback for Amit.
Timer, please show red card after 1 minute.
One minute is up.
Let's take the meeting forward, and I would like to introduce the second speaker, who is our very own president, Anshuman. Before that, I would like to call upon his evaluator, Mr. Padma Kumar. Mr. Padma Kumar, over to you.
Yes. So apologize if I am not visible. I am here. And we had a power cut just now, so we are working on backup, which is why
You're visible.
there is no, yeah, good. I had to make sure with my color. I mean, it's quite likely that when the power goes, you may assume that I have kind of scooted from the meeting. Anyway, so we have Anshuman's speech next, and Anshuman is going to demonstrate how a public speaker can be an effective facilitator as well. Right, so we're going to look at Amit with, Anshuman with his abilities as a public speaker facilitating a panel discussion. The overall time is 20 to 30 minutes, which includes some Q&A as well. Over to you, Anshuman. All the very best.
Anshuman, Sports culture in India, Anshuman.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Priyamvada. For the next 20 to 30 minutes, we're going to have a very gala time discussing a very interesting aspect of some or all of our lives, sports. For me, the most thrilling part of my life has always been getting onto a sports ground and hitting, say, a sports ball. For example, in tennis, a tennis ball or a table tennis ball, smashing it and seeing it go past away from the opponent, with leaving the opponent bewildered. Playing a sport has always given me that thrill, that adrenaline rush, which makes me feel alive for the rest of the day. I always look forward to playing sports, either with my friends, with my coach, or with my family members. But why so? Why is sports so important? And what is it as a culture which makes sports so powerful driving force for a nation? If we see in Olympics, the top two nations, which is China and United States, being the leaders, are the leaders not just in Olympics, but in terms of economy and excellence overall. Are they both correlated? What can India do to build its sports culture? That is all what we're going to discuss today in the panel discussion with our esteemed panelists. I'd like to introduce to you each of the panel members who are going to share their insights and thoughts on what sports means to them and to the society, and how we can take it forward, building the sports culture in India. First, I'd like to invite on the virtual stage our ex-president and our current VP Education, Unique Katnoria. Techmaster, request you to spotlight Toastmaster Unique. The Toastmaster Unique is a lead software engineer at Snapdeal, and he has a background in engineering. But what I'm aware of Toastmaster Unique is that he's a very passionate cricket enthusiast for sure. And we'll discover today how passionate he is about sports in general and sports culture in India. I look forward to your thoughts, Unique. Next, I'd like to invite on the stage our illustrious storyteller and our division director, distinguished Toastmaster Anand. Techmaster requests you to please spotlight distinguished Toastmaster Anand. So Anand, besides leading us all in Division M, is also a distinguished Toastmaster, is considered as an illustrious mentor by a lot of us. And I know that he's quite passionate about keeping fit, and I love to hear his thoughts on sports culture in our nation and globally today evening. Last but not the least, I'd like to invite the illustrious distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder on the stage. Rupinder, if you can spotlight yourself. Rupinder, as we all know, is an independent consultant, mathematics aficionado, if I can put it that way, and obviously he is currently leading 5 VPPR positions, which itself is quite an ambitious task to take. I think he took it as a sporting activity to begin with. But I will like to know his thoughts about PR later. But today, love to know his thoughts on sports in general. So first of all, coming back to spotlighting myself, host or Rupinder, if you can
Anshuman,
help
the 4 of us are spotlighted. You can go ahead. You can
Got it,
sit on
sure.
mobile.
Got it. Sure. All right. So sports in general, we know helps physical fitness, but sports has definitely other important aspects in life also. For example, team building. If you play a sport, you realize how to go above and beyond yourself. At times, you have to put your team first, or at times, you have to rise up for the team. At times, you have to collaborate. at times you have to compete. And sports can be of different types. It can be a solo sport. For example, archery. For example, like it can be a sport you play with a partner, for example, badminton or tennis, or it can be team sport where two teams compete against each other, be it football or cricket. A different kind of sports which help you teach excellence, which help you teach perseverance, which help you teach discipline. And to begin with, I'd like to know from each of our panelists of what is their favorite sport and which they love to watch or they love to play. Starting with you, Rupinder, what is your favorite sport?
Well, it was cricket for a long time. Then Azharuddin retired and Rahul Dravid retired and Mahendra Singh Dhoni retired. So I don't have a current favorite right now, though I do follow Ajinkya Rahane and to some extent Cheteshwar Pujara. I was very interested in Formula One until Michael Schumacher was there. But the sport that I like to play, and you might find it difficult to believe, is table tennis. Anytime I get a chance.
Thanks a lot, Rupinder.
And one more thing, I excel at Scrabble. You will not be able to beat me in Scrabble.
Scrabble, I completely understand. I'm quite sure a lot of us cannot beat you at Scrabble. And Schumacher, I was watching this recently launched documentary on Netflix yesterday. You might just want to catch up with that. Anant, what is your favorite sport and why?
I have been a cricket player since childhood because that's the environment we have grown up in. And the kind of environment we have grown up in is we didn't have a choice to pick either to become a batsman or a bowler or wicketkeeper or umpire. It was quite an all-rounder growth phase that I've been from. So yes, I am a true all-rounder in cricket when it comes to watching, playing, reading upon it, even during my training hours, even during Toastmasters meetings. CrickBuzz is always, a side window whenever there is a series going on. But yes, there are a couple of other sports that I like to dabble in. Scrabble is one where I would like to give Rupinder a run for his money. Rupinder, one match, anytime. Because this is one sport I fell in love with during my Infosys days, right in my first job. We, in fact, formed a Scrabble club over there in Infosys Bangalore. And one of our members, he took part in International Scrabble Championship. He represented India from that. Now, there are a few sports that I don't necessarily play, but I like to dabble in. And you won't believe what kind of weird sports are out there. Many endless nights I have watched on YouTube, Russian slap boxing. There are different weird kind of mix mash of sports that I just got to know could become a part of Olympics in coming years. Take example, volleyball. You play it at a beach and it becomes beach volleyball. You play any sports at any particular location, it becomes a new sports altogether. Football plus volleyball, and it becomes a new sports altogether. So yes, I don't like to play them. Maybe we don't have infrastructure, but yes, I like to dabble in them. But cricket has been and will always be my first love. Guilty as charged. Over to you.
Thanks, Anant. Cricket definitely connects us all. I feel Russian slap boxing is might be Rupinder's favorite also. If he might be practicing it offline, I would be surprised. And he's already like showing from his actions that yes, he is interested in that. And thanks for sharing your passions and interests, Anant. Moving to you, Unique. I've seen your panel discussions on cricket, so I'm quite sure you must be interested in cricket. But what are your other passions of sport?
Yeah, so I would agree with Toastmaster Anant here that as a child you don't have any choice but cricket because that's kind of forced onto you and there is no other sports going on. So for me specifically, it's not just cricket; it's specifically Test cricket that I love. I'm not a big fan of the shorter format, but I am really a big fan of Test cricket. and that's about watching. And these days it's difficult to play cricket without your peers, so these days I'm more into weightlifting. So I'm a lot into Olympic weightlifting, the clean and jerk and the snatches. I follow it in the sense that I watch it, and I also try to emulate it in my own gym. So that is something I have developed a passion of late for. And yeah, but it's a wide, like a wide world of sports, and there's a lot to choose from. And for a person like me who's almost instantaneously likes every sport, so it's very difficult to choose one though. Yeah.
Thanks, Sunil. Definitely, I think the gymming aspect of sporting is quite important to learn. And like in India, I'm not sure how much it is given importance, but definitely be it clean and jerk or any kind of weightlifting activity, that can be an important exercise to learn. So moving from the micro to the macro level, I want to know from all of you panelists on the sports culture for a nation. That why is building a sporting culture essential for a country? And do you see any correlation between sports culture and the excellence of a nation? For example, do United States of America and China excel at Olympics because they are great at sports, or vice versa? Starting with you, Uni.
Well, I think to answer the primary question, how does the sporting culture affect a nation? I think if your country has a sporting nation, I think it's an indirect marker of the well-being of your society, because because sports is generally preferred after you have secured your basic needs. So if enough people are going into sports and following their pursuing the sport they love, that means as a society you are doing good enough to give them basic necessities so that they can follow what they want to do in life. And apart from that, how getting into sport affects a society, I think in general, so in a supporting society, people are more resilient towards the situations we face as a society. So if we can, if in countries where there is an organic, so there is a different in inorganically creating a sporting culture and organically creating a sporting culture. If we can prepare a organic sporting culture, I think we as a society will act more united.
Wow, you touched upon a very interesting point that one ventures into sports when saying that Maslow's pyramid, you have cleared the roti, kapda, makan, or like in English, food, water, and shelter pyramid, and then you move on to exercise, and that's an indicator for a nation that one has excelled and pursuing excellence through sports. Anand, what are your thoughts on the topic?
Well, I feel it's quite contradictory in itself. Whether you link China's rise after 80s or 90s to its excellence in sports, or whether it's vice versa. Uh, Very tough to judge by where we stand together. But of course, on a macro level, there is a correlation. China's economic growth post 80s or 90s, and maybe after Beijing Olympics, China giving US and Russia and Great Britain and Australia, Germany a run for their money. Uh, that coincides. In fact, Tokyo Olympics, after US and China, it was Japan, the host country, which emerged as the top third nation in the medals tally. So why does it happen? Is it all about, all right, you host the Olympics 12 years later and suddenly you will become excellent at sports? Or in the next 12 years, economic prosperity will come your way? I guess not. It's all about the society, its mindset. Partially, yes, it's all about for securing your basic needs, so economic prosperity of society, but there's a mindset aspect also attached to it. We live in a country, we live in a country where a Mary Kom, if wins boxing world championship, it becomes a Bollywood movie. Where the captain of Indian hockey team, the female one, Rani Rampal, it becomes a success story once they show something good in Olympics. Likewise, Neeraj, became a household name after he became an Olympic gold medalist. Before that, I don't know how many of us knew him, despite his success at under 19 level. So as they say in Hindi over here, Charte Suraj ko salam, we only salute and appreciate the success stories. It's just the tip of the iceberg. What's our viewpoint as a society to these struggles, to the, below the surface, the activities of failures, constant failures and struggles? Why do we have to have a life story of someone who won an Olympic or any other medal and glorify it because they face so many adversities in childhood and adulthood, etc.? Why does it have to be a way of fighting against the system and winning? Have you ever heard a story in at least Indian society that, hey, this guy chose this sport at childhood? He was a prodigy. He kept winning. Today he is a world champion and it's a normal thing. No, we celebrate it. So the system has to change right from the homes, the houses, the schools. Academics first and then become unemployed. That's not the way. We need to take sports as an employable, as a career option as well. So I feel it's not about academies, it's not about the highest of levels, it is about the grassroots levels where we need to change our mindset as a society first. Sorry for the long answer, but I think it was needed.
Thanks, Anath. You touched upon a lot of interesting points. And as you mentioned, I think India craves for excellence. India celebrates that excellence. But as you mentioned, that excellence should become a norm where it's pursued from the childhood days when people are pursuing, for example, in sports, different activities, and they excel at different stages and regularly produce world champions out of India. Last but not the least, Rupinder, what are your thoughts on the topic?
I listened to Anant and Unique with interest, and I was drawn back to my days of childhood when even if we did not have money, we would turn up on a Sunday afternoon, maybe around 12 o'clock, just to have a game of cricket. And it didn't matter whether it was raining or not. It didn't matter whether the pitch was ready or not. We actually did everything ourselves. While it is nostalgic, as far as the sporting culture goes, I think in India specifically, and especially with the later generations, there is this thing called instant gratification. We want the glory, we don't want the toil. That I think is a very big question that this generation has to answer. I was recently at a seminar, and one of the participants asked a question to one of the panelists that what does one have to do to become someone like you? It was not directed at me, it was directed at another panelist, and that panelist is a celebrated TEDx speaker and a lot of other things. So he said that if you want to become what I am, you will have to go through what I have. And that's a very profound statement. A lot of us see the glory in sports. A lot of us see the achievements in sports. What we do not see is the struggle in sports. And when we select a person as a celebrity, like we did Neeraj Chopra, we necessarily want a sob story behind it. For just consider the movie Surma. It is one of those movies that has its heart in the right place, quote unquote. But there's an unnecessary love story in that movie. Why does a sports person necessarily have to fall in love? Why does it have to happen? Why don't you instead show the struggle that the sports person went through? Because it does not make for a good story. And as Rahul Dravid once said, why let facts get in the way of a good story? That is what is my view. Thank you.
Wow. Expect gems to come out of you, Rupinder. So everyone seeks the glory, but people don't seek the toil, or people see the toil, but they see the toil, they expect a toil out of a world champion, which, as Anant mentioned, should not be the general case. All of us should be toiling to become world champions in some field or the other. Rupinder, you had shown us reaching the semi-final of a world championship, public speaking world championship, a few years back. So definitely, I'll move on to how India as a nation can build its sporting culture. But before that, I'd like to take one question from the audience on this topic itself. Any one of you, if you have a topic for our amazing panelists, please go ahead and ask on the topic of sports or sports culture. So Jim, Padma, Anshu, Sagarika, do you have any question for the panelists on sports or sports culture in general? Yes, Padma, please go ahead.
Since I didn't see any other hand raised, I thought let me go ahead and ask a question. Our fit storyteller brought up a very interesting point when you asked about the connection between the sporting successes and the health of the economy. And to a great extent, I heard most of the time that we seem to believe that countries like US, China, since they are doing extremely well in sports as well as in economy, there seems to be some correlation. But how do you explain a country like Jamaica, Croatia, Kenya, who are not so successful at going away with medals in every single Olympics that we have seen?
May I respond to that?
Yes, please go ahead, distinguished Toastmaster.
Thank you. Padma, I think there is a slight noise from your device. So thank you. Thank you for the question, by the way. I feel what you have highlighted here is countries which are excelling at a particular set of sports. And every country has a particular set of sports that they excel at. If you take these former USSR countries, you'll find a lot of them in weightlifting or wrestling as a traditional sports. While Jamaica and many other West Indian nations, they probably excel more in cricket, track and field, especially racing and javelin and high jumps and all, because of their natural athletic build. It's genetics. At the same time, there are countries which truly embrace sports, every kind of sports as a culture. Jim here is from perhaps one of those countries. Australia is known as a country where every citizen is encouraged to adopt one sports right from the childhood. There are a few other countries which have probably chess as an inclusive sports where women can play. Otherwise, women can't go outside. So we have to know first the history, the culture, the social stigmas, the social fabric of a country, and then probably raise that as a point. But having said that, there is no stopping them. These are all traditional chains that are binding all the countries, including India. And I think in a modern world today, it's high time now we break free of these chains. Yes, Anshuman, over to you.
Thanks, Anand. That is a very interesting question and a very apt answer, Anand. I also recall Brazil, which is top 3 right now. I think second position in the rankings released today in football. But as an economy, it's still developing and part of BRICS as an organization. Now, moving on to concluding our panel discussion, I'd like to double click on India as a country. And I'd like to ask our panelists, what are the strengths and weaknesses of the sports culture in India? And how can India build the sports culture, best sports culture for itself? Should it model itself on countries like United States or China? Or is there a way India can build its own signature style sports culture which can help it excel at platforms like Olympics? Starting with you, Uni.
Yeah, so well, according to me, the way we have excelled in cricket in the last 10 years is a good model to look at. So we as a country are very, very populated, as we all know. but that can be used as a strength. So what they have done in cricket is that instead of like they obviously have created the infrastructure, but they have created a huge talent pool of players. So if there is a tough competition from your school levels right up to the next levels, obviously the best talent will get more exposure, and only the best will propagate to the highest level. So that is something we as the India can embrace, that with a large set of people, we also have a large pool of talent which we can look into, and then channelize those that talent into different structures so that they can go up the level and make it to the highest level. Apart from that, we as society are very, talking specifically strengths of India that can be used. So we as a society have a lot of colle- we can say a collective mentality, in the sense that we have a lot of social gatherings where different parts of our community gather. If we can somehow integrate sports with that, so for example, there is a gathering in particular region. So if we can somehow integrate sports like our old wrestling glory days, where organized wrestling was like pride of your village, that how strong of a wrestler your village has was kind of pride of your village. So that was because that thing was socialized into the society, and we have a lot of scope for that in our country because of the way we celebrate our festivals, and we organize ourselves into small groups for mutual cooperation. If we can introduce sports, let's say uh, every weekend, children will play a certain sport in the ground and parents will come there, and you don't need really a big infrastructure for that, just a few bananas for children to cheer them up, and a bit of water. And if they see that they are being attended to by multiple peoples and they are being recognized there, I mean, this is a way we can contribute to sporting culture in lack of infrastructure. Obviously, infrastructure is required, but this can mitigate that to some extent, and obviously use your talent pool to the best of your extent. Yeah, over to you, Anshul.
Wow. I hope Sports Authority of India listens to this one, because, like, you're quite right, Unique. One is that we build upon our strengths as a nation. Like, for example, the historic games that we already have been playing for quite a while. For example, Pehilwani, which now is transforming to uh, Greco-Roman wrestling. Taking those strengths, or just keeping, like, even going back to mythology and bringing up, say, javelin, where, for example, I wouldn't say mythology or history, where throwing a bhala, which is a javelin, inculcated into the culture and celebrated. I think all of those things can bring up that signature, unique style of India and help India excel and in sports in general. How about you, Ananta? What are your feelings about it?
I feel one quick solution, if you are looking for, to make sports as a culture, or in other words, if you want to develop a particular sports as a culture in India, you need to have sponsors backing it up. When I say the word sponsors, it's not your pan masalas or tobacco products or cigarettes. It's genuine sponsors. It can be army, it can be railways, it can be services, it can be private sector, PSUs, IT companies. The reason that Major League Baseball, basketball are very much having an ecosystem around the entire Northern America, or ice hockey for that matter, is because these franchises, these sponsors, they scout and invest in talents right from the early age. They provide a security or safety net to these budding talent for their career. So they don't have to worry really about how would they live and go by. So if we can have that, not at the highest of level, maybe at a national level, but going back to the grassroots again, that is one way to solve this puzzle. I will give an example. If you look at how the Indian cricket is thriving, producing gems after gems these days, it's because people playing the domestic cricket tournament, they have their sponsors, they get jobs in the state government or the national level PSUs or armies and railways, etc. That is their safety net. They might not make it to the top team of 1 billion strong nation. So that is how they go by. Similarly, if you want to have that same spirit in this 1 billion plus nation, in swimming, in judo, in taekwondo, in racket sports, in chess, in many other sports, you need to provide corporate sponsors, private players, right from the childhood, the academic, and the college days. That is short way to help building a sports culture.
Thanks, Anand. That again, very interesting thoughts. I just like thinking that what if, like, Indians definitely take, a lot of Indians take education and work, service-oriented work quite seriously. For example, I was just thinking, say Infosys sponsors a kabaddi team, and they follow that kabaddi team very sincerely and celebrate the success of that kabaddi team internally within the corporate premises. If that can be, say, integrated in different sports, that can be an interesting way, besides obviously the financial sponsorship and maybe including, say, different kind of sports part of a company's atmosphere. It'll help in team building plus physical strength, which will help in productivity also. But thank you for those interesting
Maybe a
thoughts.
part of as a CSR activity. That's a big scope there where they can fit.
True that. And last but not the least, how will you like to conclude distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder?
Yes. So there was a interview that I saw, and we asked the panelist was asked, "What is wrong with the sporting culture of India?" And he said the problem is that politics is sport and sports is politics. If we want to evolve a culture of sporting in India, then we should stop asking what subjects are you studying, what school do you belong to, what are your eating habits, what is your religious inclination. Let's start by asking a very simple question. What sport or a game do you play? We don't need sponsors for that. It's as simple as asking a simple question. What sport or a game do you play? That's what I would say. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder, and thanks a lot, Unique, Anand, all of us. Honestly, all of the thoughts that you shared, I had just 10% of them before the panel discussion. And just in this half an hour, my horizon of understanding of how sports culture and sports culture in India can be enhanced has improved so much. And we have got so many ideas. I hope the folks in the leadership of Sports Authority of India or the politicians or the bureaucracy of India has such bright thoughts to enhance sporting culture, because we all know the tremendous benefits it offers, besides obviously building physical strength and also adding to the teamwork, to strategy, or to plethora of benefits sports in general offers. Thank you. And over to you, Toastmaster Priyamada.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anshuman. Quite a unique way of carrying on a speech. For the first time, I have followed a panel discussion fully. So it was very interesting. So let's move back to the theme, that is banking. You guys might have definitely filled a form in a bank, whether a receipt, a payments, or a account opening form, you may say. You might have got a chance to fill it. God knows why they have made it so complicated, but out of 20 things, you just need to fill 5. But seeing those 20, a customer who comes for the first time, trust me on that, at least 6 to 7 customers every day visit for the first time in a bank. Ask all sorts of questions on how to fill a simple form. And if you ask them to fill whatever they think is necessary, they would look at you like, isko bhi nahi pata. And this shows the end there. Your show ends there, and they don't trust you anymore. And there comes the turn of the next window. So let's move on to the next window of our meeting, that is the table topic section, headed by table topic master Anand Katyani. We have already had an audio video check. So over to you, Anand.
Thank you so much, Priyamvada. What a beautiful transition. What an interesting way of introducing this session. Can you have a good round of applause for Priyamvada? Now, ladies and gentlemen, since we have less time for table topics, I'll be brief about the rules. You have to speak for minimum 1 minute, see the green card. Then after 30 seconds, you will be shown a yellow card. And at the end of 2 minutes, you will be shown a red card, beyond which you have 30 more seconds to just wrap it up. Not the right person, ideal person to give you this advice, but seeing the right card, start wrapping it up ASAP. So who would like to be our first volunteer who preferably is not playing a role today? I will come to Diana, but I will want the first person to be someone who is coming to our meeting for the first time and probably who is a Toastmasters already. Sagarika, are you a member at some club somewhere?
No, I'm not
Okay.
a member.
So I will come to you after a demonstration by one senior. Oh, we have Jim. So can we have Jim to demonstrate our topic?
Okay.
All right, Jim. Have you ever been to a bank, physical bank?
Yes.
Have you ever stood in a queue?
Yes.
Have you ever been frustrated looking at that queue?
No, I haven't.
All right, then it's a fictional topic for you. For some people like Padma and I, it can be relatable, but for you, it will become a fictional topic. So Jim, here is your topic. The worst kind of people to have in a queue before you, be it at a bank or anywhere else. The worst kind of people to have before you in a queue. Jim.
I'm in Australia. We have social distancing. And what that means physically is we've got these stickers on the floor and you have to stand in that round circle with the 2 feet. So I'm standing in line and there's this lady in the front. Now, you haven't been to a bank in Australia probably, but they go over the top with friendliness. How are you today? Have you had breakfast? Oh, how's little puppy? Oh, it's getting big, isn't it? Now, please add your own Australian accent because I make it a point not to pick out that horrible accent. So this lady goes up and it's something like 2 minutes, which is a very long time, especially for a table topic. And they finally get to the point of doing banking business. Oh, where's my ID? Yeah, well, hello, is this your first time in a bank? Don't you realize you have to have the ID ready? So she's fumbling around looking for the ID. Then she's producing it. Oh, do you have your social security card? Oh, yes, let me look for that as well. And she's rummaging through her stuff again. You know, get to the back of the line. You know, there's people waiting. That is what is really frustrating. People showing up unprepared. They don't know what they want exactly. Something to do with borrowing money, but for a special purpose with a special interest rate. Come on. You don't want to spend all your time in the bank. Bankers should not be so friendly. That's the takeaway. Don't be friendly in your customer service so that the other customers actually get your service and your attention promptly. Back to you.
Thank you, Jim. I wish we would have those kind of representatives, service people at our banks over here. But yeah, that's the luxury you have and you're not grateful for it. No worries. We move on to now Diana. Diana, you please type your answer to this topic and you take not 1 minute, 2 minutes, but your own sweet time, right? So your topic, Diana, is what if the God were a banker? What if the God were a banker? Diana, your writing time starts now. Meanwhile, In the interest of time, I will move to our third speaker. And who wants to now try an interesting topic? I'm just making my credit score high in Rupinder's books using the word of the day interesting. So you also do the same. Who would like to give it a try? Is it Sagarika? Is it Prerna? Or Rishabh? Samriddhi? Oh,
Yes, Anand, I would like to try. I hope I'm audible.
yes, you are audible. And your good name, please. The full name. Oh, sorry. I mistook you for someone else. Okay, Samriddhi. Your topic is I would never rob State Bank of India. I would never rob State Bank of India. Why, Samriddhi?
So, thank you, Anand, for giving me this topic. I would never rob State Bank of India. I would never rob State Bank of India because I personally have my fixed deposits there. I might not want to lose any part of my interest or anything like that. Also, I have some investments other apart from fixed deposit. And also, I have my locker, which I could say. So I would definitely not rob State Bank of India, though I understand it can be one of the banks to be looted. And also I will be defamed by my chartered accountancy, and I can, just be barred, and I can be actually removed from my membership for such a crime. I might not want to lose that prefix, which actually took me 4 or 5 years, I think, to add before my name. So that's all. Considering the fact that I would not be wanting to be punished and having my own pecuniary interest there, I would not want to rob State Bank of India. Over to you, Table Topic Master. Thank you.
Thank you, Samriddhi. Interesting take. Well, I once actually went to rob State Bank of India at my local branch, and they simply said, come after lunchtime. So that's that. Now, who would like to speak on the next topic? Is it Sagarika? Is it Prerna? Is it Rishabh? Okay, how about we go with Sagarika? Let's break the tie.
Okay,
Sagarika, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Sagarika, just making you aware, your voice has a slight crackling. So don't worry about that. Just go on. Your topic is, and this is our second last topic of the day. So your topic is, what kind of loan I would like to leave the world with? What kind of loan I would like to leave the world with? Sagarika.
What kind of loan I would? I didn't get the other part.
I would like to leave the world with.
I think I, as a person, would like to utilize all my talents and qualities such that I can give so much to the world that this world gets transformed into a better place, and the result of it is that people are very grateful to me as a person for my contribution. And I think this is the greatest loan I can leave the world with. So basically I believe in human to human connection. So my work is to use communication as a tool to build human to human connection. So this is what I have been striving as a mission of my life. So the loan I would like to leave the world with is that I dream of a future world in which there is no war. People are well connected, because I feel progress and development in this world is dependent on one sole thing, is how one human connects to other. If we are deeply connected to each other, then I think we can live in a better world, work together, be more productive, and contribute our best. So one of the main challenges that we as the citizens of this world face is that we are not united in our hearts and in our souls. That is my thinking. And as technological progress is further gaining strength,
I personally feel that our human mind is not progressing to that extent. It is not keeping pace with the technological progress. So if our mind progresses to the extent that we understand at the end of the day we are all united, we come from the same universal soul, and we work towards that, I think we can create a much better world. So the lone I could feel, I personally want to leave the world with, is that people remember me for my work and they feel happy that they live in a better world after I'm gone.
Thank you so much, Sagarika. It almost felt like a prepared speech. So thank you so much for those interesting takes. Now, one final topic, a quick one. Let's not waste time in selecting who will speak. Can we have Rishabh on the dais? Rishabh,
Yes.
quick audio video check. Are you visible?
Yes.
Rishabh, I can't see you. Okay, now we can see you. Now we can see. Techmaster, please highlight Rishabh. Rishabh, your topic is you received a credit card offer call, and the voice on the other side, a beautiful voice said, "Hi Rishabh, did you buy the card?" You got a credit card offer call, and a beautiful voice on the other end spoke, "Hi Rishabh, did you buy the card?" Rishabh.
So, first of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity. And yes, if I get a call from a credit card company, usually getting um, spams like what are the, I mean, so your question, or is coming to your original question. If I get a call and a beautiful lady calls me and she asks me, did you get the car? Then I'll probably just search whether I have purchased a car or not. First, I will check it. And of course, I will say, in order to impress her, maybe, that yes, I have placed an order for a car. And yes, I would be interested to know what all loan conditions would be there for me to purchase the car. What are the interest rate? What is the down payment? And I would certainly be happy to ask her what all, if she can explain me these terms and condition in person, so as to get to know her. If her voice is as beautiful as she might also be a beautiful lady. So besides that, I feel like car is a depreciating asset, so uh, will not be very much interested, but still I would like to know the details, because ultimately your knowledge will be increased. So I would pursue to get a loan, and definitely to get the knowledge about how I would be getting a car in future, or maybe at the very moment as well. So yeah, that's it from my side.
Did you plan for your kid's name as well already? Such planning, man. Just
I
pulling your
just
leg.
improvised.
Just kidding with you. Thank you so much for that very sporting take. Ladies and gentlemen, Diana also has typed her response in the chat to the question, what if God were a banker? Please read that and provide her feedback. Time now for two quick polls. Techmaster, can we first launch the poll for the best speaker? Ladies and gentlemen, you will have 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds to make this quick choice. I know a difficult one, but let's be done with that. And Techmaster, once you give me a signal, Rupinder, once you give me a thumbs up, I will announce for the poll number 2. Thank you. Time now for the second poll, the best table topic speaker to be launched. And here are your choices. I have made my choice registered. So I have, I guess so have you. This is the end of an interesting table topic. I hope Rupinder is registering, crediting some more score for me. With that hope and a very pleasing experience, thanks to all of you, I'm now handing over to the Toastmaster of the day, Priyamvada, who is doing a glorious job. Over to you, Priyamvada.
Thank you, Anand. And yes, I must say, come after lunchtime is our favorite line. And you don't know how much relief it gives me by saying that. It's an everyday line for me. Yeah, it is. So let's move on. Though Modi ji tried to make it easier by introducing demonetization, but if you have heard his famous line, इस देश में इतना काला धन है कि हर किसी के अकाउंट को 15 लाख रुपए से क्रेडिट किया जा सकता है. I bet people took it so seriously that even after 1 year of demonetization, people came into the banks asking if 15 lakh have been credited to their accounts. And here I am sitting on the other side of the window, answering to thousands such queries and printing thousands of passbooks about that too as huge as because they don't trust you with amount as huge as 15 lakh. You definitely won't be believed easily, so they need a printed passbook to see that their account balance is still the same. So before stepping more into demonetization, let's move on. Let's move on.
General
Have we moved
evaluation.
on?
Want to call the general evaluator?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Priyamvada. Let us begin with the general evaluation section. To begin with, we will begin with the speech evaluators. Our first speech evaluator is Toastmaster Surjit. Toastmaster Surjit, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. First of all, I congratulate Amit for completing his project. Amit, I like the way you started your speech with a huge laugh. It was like a small comedy drama. There was a lot of props in your speech, and the way you deliver your speech was really awesome. Your body saying more than your words. The way you created humor from your wife's attire was really awesome. But it could be risky at your end because you were giving speech at your home. So, jokes part, I enjoyed your speech very much. The way you showed shopping list and simultaneously Toastmasters motto, where leaders are one, was wonderful part of your speech. The way you showed brew and big spoon was awesome, and most of the married men were relating to it, except me, because I am lucky. Now there are few recommendations. There were a lot of punches in your speech, but I sometimes I feel that there was some humorous part was a little bit missing from your speech, and it can be worked upon in the future speeches. Second thing I noticed that though there were a lot of props and punches, but there were a lot of body movements, so audience could not connect well. In the future, after a punch, we can have a pause and wait for the audience response, and uh, and also minimize the body movements. Also, I noticed that the speed of the speech was a little fast, and you use the Hindi word like shole. So this we can avoid because we have audience from across the borders. So there were some difficult in understanding the Hindi for them. Overall, speech was awesome, and you were full of confidence and your eyes contact and other body movements was really highlight of your speech. There was clarity in your speech. There was vocal variety in your speech. And gestures were really awesome. Audience awareness was awesome. Audience engagement was good. There was good humor in your speech, and that was the purpose of your speech, and you fulfilled your purpose very well. Good luck for your speech, your future speech. Now I hand over the stage back to our general evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sujit, for that very interesting, very elaborate evaluation. Thank you so much. Let's move to our next speech evaluator. The next speech evaluator is Distinguished Toastmaster Padma, and he's already on the spotlight. Over to you, Distinguished Toastmaster Padma.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Today, we had Anshuman playing the role of a facilitator. And I'm going to look at this role of facilitator that he played from two sides. What went well and what could be improved. What went well, I'm going to use the metaphor of a master chef who made some delicious mutton biryani for us. And how did he do that? He had 3 connoisseurs who would provide a whole lot of inputs. And he introduced each of them with such great flavor. For instance, he said, sporty, unique, fit storyteller, Anand, and maths aficionado, Rupinder. Beautifully explained. And then he had some excellent ingredients. What were the ingredients that he brought in for the facilitation? He had active listening skills. He had eloquent interjections. He had humorous remarks to make, and he was cheerful and poised throughout. Brilliant ingredients that he brought into the panel discussion to make it so tasty. And overall, the timely addition of ingredients at various stages. It's not that you put everything together in one shot, but you slowly introduce, and that he did that beautifully by starting off from a convergent kind of a thing in terms of each person's interest to a divergent part in terms of what does overall sports countries and things like that do, to again converging to what should we as a country do. So again, very brilliantly facilitated. Now moving to the other part, what could be improved, I want to compare that to an engine driver who had to take us to a destination called sporting excellence. And what are some of the things that he could potentially have improved on? I felt that at times the destination was not clear. He was trying to go to too many places, and therefore I did not get a key takeaway, 1 or 2 key takeaways from the overall panel discussion. It would have helped to have some guardrails that will make sure that the train moves in a certain direction so that the passengers reach the destination. Avoiding that meandering path could have definitely helped. And one more thing is the initial warm-up questions in terms of what is your favorite sport, etc., took a very good time of 8 minutes. It could have potentially been shortened so that the meat of the whole thing in terms of discussion could have had more time. So in summary, deliciously cooked panel discussion, a pleasant balance of ingredients, and very nicely interjected at various points. From an improvement standpoint, a little more compact, warm-up part, and set guardrails for assured takeaways would have made the speech much better. Looking forward to listen to you more. Thank you very much. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Round of applause. So what an interesting speech. Oh, what an interesting evaluation it was. Thank you so much, Distinguished Toastmaster Padma. Let us move to our table topics evaluator for the day. Table topics evaluator, Toastmaster Unique. Can we have you on screen? Yes,
Mr.
over to you.
I think, you would be evaluating the table topics as well.
Here, general evaluator evaluates. If you haven't, it's okay. Let's move on to the tag reports.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't aware of that. Let us move to the next element, that is the tag report. That is the report from the timer, our counter, as well as the grammarian. And before we do that, can we have the polls for the best evaluator? Another 5 seconds, and then we will invite our grammarian for the day, distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder. Distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder, can you please spotlight yourself? And over to you for your grammarian's report.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I challenged our audience to say the word of the day more than the number of times that the table topic speakers we had 5. And now let me tell you the results. Mehul used it once. Diana, I love you for this, twice. Anshuman once, Samriddhi once, Anant twice. I don't love you for this. You should have done better. Jim once. So a total of 8 times. Now, if you add the 5 times that I used interesting and the ones that I thought that I would leave Mehul out of it, we have a grand total in double figures of 15 times. Let's have a round of applause to that. And may all the words of the day be as interesting as today's one. Now, let me get on to the other good usages. Our first speaker, plethora of good usages of play on words. Sergeant at arms stretched his arms. On the screen and off the screen. I loved how he imitated his son. Fluty crayons. By the way, he was saying fruity and crayons, but that was adorable. Red card from corner of my eyes. Good picturization there. Mute the cute wife. I wish we could do that. If you know that how to do that. 2 hours, 3 hours, 2 arms, and 1 long pause. There are many other usages that speaker one used, but it was hilarious throughout. Let me do justice to the other speakers as well. Maths aficionado, collaborate or compete. We celebrate success. Horizon of understanding, sports culture. Then a table topic master came, and he was at best with his topics. The worst kind of people in a queue. What kind of a loan would I like to leave the world? Robbing SBI, that's a thought. And by the way, I am one of those guilty people who actually gave in to a beautiful girl and bought a credit card. But by the way, that credit card was one of the best credit cards I ever had. I'm talking about American Express Gold card. Depreciating assets, then rummaging, pecuniary, defamed, some excellent use of words there. Coming to or transitioning to the not so good usages. Not exactly a wrong usage, will be presenting and will be increased, but this is passive voice. You want to use active voice here, you want to say will present or will increase. Then my second peeve, there was mitro, which means friends, chole, which means chickpeas. अगर हर नागरिक के पास 15 लाख होंगे, that every citizen will get 15 lakhs. So there was use of Hindi. Wherever you use Hindi, please translate it into English. One of the speakers said married glitch. I felt a marital glitch would have been a better usage. One of the speakers said quite a unique, and I thought that that was an excellent opportunity to replace it with the word of the day, which is interesting, and there it goes up to 70. Other than that, one of my favorite usages was requesting and persisting, family and family planning. Speaking of family, I guess that I should get off the stage, but before I go, I have a quote for everyone. And this is in the interest of being concise in your conversations. Listen very carefully. Stop talking before your audience stops listening. Stop talking before your audience stops listening. So please stop using 10 sentences where only 1 or 2 will suffice. But that, back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Yes, thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Rupinder, for the concise and precise report. Thank you so much. Let us move to our next role player in the sequence, that is the R counter for the day. Toastmaster Anshu, do we have you on the screen? Spotlight on the screen, rather. Over to you.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So as the R counter report, so Anshuman Mishra, more than 10 hours, 1 1 so, and 2 long pauses. Then Priyambada, more than 10 hours, 1 hour and 1 so. Then we have Rupinder, 2 hours. Then we have Mehul, 1 hour. Surjit, 6 hours. Then we have Rishabh, 7 hours, 1 and 3 so's. Then Sagarika, we have 3 hours. Then we have Unique, more than 10 hours, 1 hour and 1 so. Anand, 8 hours, 1 1 so. That's all from my side. Thank you.
A round of applause for Toastmaster Anshu. You scared me for a minute. Wow, this is an impeccable job being done here. Kudos to that. Thank you so much. Let's move to the time for the day. Toastmaster Unique. Can we have Toastmaster Unique spotlighted? And over to you, Toastmaster Unique, for your report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mehul. And let me start by sharing my screen. So please verbally acknowledge once you see my screen. Yeah, just a minute. Okay, I'm having some trouble sharing my screen, so I'll just read out the timings. So our first speaker, Toastmaster Amit, took 6 minutes and 55 seconds. That's within the limits. Second speaker, Toastmaster Anshuman, in his panel discussion took 32 minutes. So that's within his project limit of 30 to 40 minutes. Our table topic speakers, everyone qualified. Toastmaster Diana took 1 minute 15 seconds. Toastmaster Jim took 2 minutes. Toastmaster Samriti took 1 minute and 5 seconds. Toastmaster Sagarika took 2 minutes and 5 seconds. And Toastmaster Rishabh took 2 minutes and 3 seconds. So everybody was qualified here also. Our evaluators, Toastmaster Surjit took 2 minutes 52 seconds. And Toastmaster Padma Kumar took 2 minutes and 59 seconds. So both have qualified here as well. And as far as I'm concerned, I have taken about 90 seconds for my report. And with that, I hand over the stage back to our general evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Unique. A round of applause. The Toastmaster Unique's job is still incomplete. He'll still be telling us what time I take and the other role players take as we proceed by the show of the cards. Let me begin with the General Evaluators report. Right from the beginning to the end, the meeting started sharp at 7 p.m. Not 1 second later, not 1 second earlier. And we have the Best Auxiliary Role Players Awards in front of us. So I request everyone to please cast your ballot. And another 2 seconds before you do that. And thank you. Getting back to the General Evaluators report, and I was mentioning about how the meeting started right on time, and that is a wonderful practice that the club practices. A good job done there. Moving to the presidential address, from Sergeant at Arms, the transition to the presiding officer was smooth, and 100 on 100 on that for both the Sergeant at Arms as well as the presiding officer. Good job done there. A round of applause for both the role players. Then we moved to the brilliant Toastmaster of the day, who brought a very interesting theme that was as simple as banking. And the best part that I really loved about this theme was that the encouragement to the audience to come up and share their stories, and then connecting it all together in form of the theme that this Toastmaster of the day had prepared. So brilliant job done there as well. one small recommendation for the Toastmaster of the day. The Toastmaster of the day was reading from the paper just below her eyes. Not at all a problem that you're reading from a paper. That's absolutely fine. But when you do that, when you have it right below and you're continuously reading, that loses the connect. So either make sure it is in front of you or hold it such that you're making an eye contact with the camera and paper simultaneously. This small thing that can be practiced. The best thing would be have it on your screen, split the screen into two, one side your Zoom meeting and the other side your Word window, and you can actually see it and then speak. So these are the two things that you can do there. Speaking of the general evaluation introduction, I think that went smooth with all the role players there in the room and doing the work brilliantly well. Moving on to the evaluators. The first evaluator, Toastmaster Sujit, did a wonderful job, and I really love the amount of elements that the evaluator brought on the table for the speaker. There's just one small thing that I would like to bring to the attention of the evaluator is that the evaluator brought in a lot of elements that were interesting, that was brilliant, and that can be worked on. But what was missing is an explanation into them. Just stating them sometimes is just not enough. So when speaker says, I'll be quoting this, there were missing punches, which could have been included in the speech. Just not saying this much, bringing an episode where these can be included and why these would have been beneficial could have added a little more extra punch to your evaluation. That can be done as a speaker and the evaluator moves forward. Evaluator number 2, the evaluation part was absolutely amazing. Just one small thing that when the evaluator came for the introduction, I felt the evaluator had an electricity cut and got a little divulged in his, whether the light is coming on his face or not. So at this point, from both on the part of the evaluator as well as the Toastmaster of the day, one thing that can be done is ask whether I'm visible, am I audible? And that extra 30 seconds gap that was used, the light is not coming, the electricity is not at home, so that part could have been missed, and that can be avoided by a simple asking line, am I visible, am I audible? Moving ahead, I would present my sincere apologies for not being able to do the table topics evaluation due to limited knowledge about the structure in here in the club. So please accept my sincere apologies there. But one thing I can say, all the table topic speakers were brilliant, and I absolutely enjoyed listening to all the table topic speakers. And I really appreciate all the guests for coming on the stage and delivering those very interesting table topics. Can we have a round of applause for all the table topic speakers who came up on the stage and delivered that brilliant table topic? Thank you so much. And that was the evaluation that I had to cover so far. The meeting is well paced and we are ahead of time. And with this, I would like to hand over the stage to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Priyamvada. Over to you.
Thank you, Mehul. That was a very good evaluation. The best one I would have heard till now. It was very nice. So, let's move on. As I was talking about banking, I saw people shifting from paper currency, from paper banking to paperless banking, online banking. Some challenges dropped, but a coin has two sides. So here comes the challenge of explaining same to huge chunk of people of our country, which is illiterate, and another group of population which is old age. Think of explaining a mobile banking application to your grandparents. You will definitely understand my pain then and there. But on the other side, I'm glad that they wanted to learn at this point of age. They have all the right to sit at home and operate their bank accounts. This customer service is something that belongs to them. This thought always pushed me to come forward and help them, and they always had blessings for me. So that's how I turned my journey into blessing. And here on, I would like to conclude my speech by spotlighting Toastmaster Anshuman. Over to you, Anshuman.
I think Toastmaster Anshuman had left and he had asked me to take over as for the conclusion
Okay.
of the meeting.
So Unique would take over.
Thank you. So yet another meeting by TPTM and yet another successful session. Let's have a huge round of applause. And this applause, yeah, first of all, let's vote for the best role player. But there's a special applause which I am asking for today, because which I'm going to explain you right now for role players today. So today was a very different kind of a day as far as a TPTM meeting preparation is concerned. Being the VP head, I was privy to it, and due to different circumstances and some miscommunications, there were a lot of backouts in today's meeting, and we had a lot of last-minute heroes who uh, made this meeting so enjoyable and didn't make us realize that such things happen in background. First and foremost, our president, Toastmaster Anshuman. And in case you guys don't realize, Toastmaster Anshuman had to take this panel session just because we had two backouts in the speeches, and he did all the preparation today itself. And also to help him along, the panelists who also had to be almost impromptu, Toastmaster Rupinder and Toastmaster Anand. Thank you for taking that up. And but that's not the complete list. Toastmaster Priyamvada here, who is who is not very healthy and is facing some issues with her throat, but she wanted to finish the role she took up. So kudos to Toastmaster Priyamvada, despite not feeling well, to take up this role and do it so well. Let's have a huge round of applause for her as well. And other heroes which we have today, Toastmaster Padma Kumar, Toastmaster Mehul Sehgal, for taking these roles up at the last minute and doing it so well, in spite of some miscommunication from my end, handling it so gracefully. So kudos to you as well as our speaker for today, Toastmaster Amit, for doing it, giving such a wonderful speech. And now I would like to know from you about your experience for the meeting today. Let's start with our esteemed guest, Toastmaster Padma Kumar. Toastmaster Padma Kumar, any feedback and where we can improve upon?
So I really am impressed with the agility that you showed in terms of making sure that all the roles are filled and performed to perfection. I think that speaks a lot for the attitude that people are staying prepared. Not that they just get prepared for a meeting, but they're staying prepared. And that is really a mark of the maturity of the club. And the kind of bonhomie that is there, the friendliness that is there, the support for each other that is evident is all excellent. So Turning Point Toastmasters is truly one of my favorite clubs. And thanks to Rupinder for having introduced me to Turning Point Toastmasters.
Thank you, Toastmaster Padma, and thanks Rupinder for introducing us to Toastmaster Padma Kumar. Yeah, so let's move to
Wasn't
Toastmaster.
me, I think it was Anand.
Yes, it was Anand, followed by Rupinder. Yes.
Thanks to both, and let's move to Toastmaster Jim. Toastmaster Jim, how did you like the meeting and any feedback?
Yeah, it was good. I didn't know there was the panel discussion. It was maybe a speech project, so that was interesting. I couldn't help but feel the ladies present were a bit lost with all the sport. So maybe that's something that I should bear in mind when I'm doing something like a panel discussion for a project, to make the subject inclusive so that everybody finds it interesting. I found it interesting, of course, but maybe not everybody. Yeah, and one of my favorite clubs. That's why I have it as my background wherever I go. You'll see this everywhere in Facebook, in Israel, and wherever the place I show up. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jim, for your feedback as well as spreading the word for Turning Point Toastmasters. Toastmaster Diana, please share your feedback. You can also write in the chat window as well, or if you want to say, you can say. Yeah, while Toastmaster Diana writes her feedback in the chat window, let's move to our speaker for today, Toastmaster Amit. Toastmaster Amit, feedback for the meeting.
Yeah, thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity that you have given me to deliver my speech at Turning Point Toastmasters Club. Right from the Toastmaster of the Day to General Evaluator to the Table Topic Master, stupendous job by each and everyone. A special thanks to DTM Rupinder sir because I had attended one meeting of his speech craft session at Dubai or some other club, and I was so much spellbound by his idea about speech crafting that I wrote down in my diary and I follow it very religiously, I will say. So thank you very much, sir, and yeah, it was a great session and many takeaways for me. Thank you.
Appreciation for Rupinder and thank you, Toastmaster Amit, for presenting such a brilliant speech at our club. Yeah, Toastmaster Diana, you want to say something? You're on mute in case you want. Yeah. Yeah, I would like to move to our next guest, Toastmaster Mehul, who was also our general evaluator today. Toastmaster Mehul, any feedbacks?
Thank you so much, Toastmasters Unique, for inviting me, first of all. And I think I've given a long list of feedback in my general evaluations reports. I'll skip that part, but I would really like to congratulate the agility that the club officers of this club come with, and the number of guests I'm seeing in this meeting, and they've put in the meeting and the entire show in such a short span of time. That deserves a round of applause. So congratulations to you and your entire team. Well done. Job well done. Thank you so much, and back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mehul. Next, I would like to move to Rishabh Verma. Rishabh, are you there? Could you please unmute yourself and share your feedback?
Yeah. So I think it was a wonderful
Your
experience.
voice is a bit low, Rishabh. I think the mic is not in proper position.
Am I audible now?
Yes, it's better now.
Yeah, probably next time I'll use a microphone and earphone. Yeah. So overall, the experience of was wonderful. It was really. I look forward to be in another meetings and improve myself. And I got to learn a lot. Some of the nitty-gritties of a speech, how to deliver a speech. So yes, I look forward to this. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rishabh, and we hope you continue to come to our meeting. We would like to have you in future as well. Next, I would like to have the feedback from Toastmaster Sagrika. Sagrika, if you could unmute yourself and share your feedback. You're on mute in case you are speaking. Yeah.
Well, initially I could not hear the entire thing very clearly. There was some hearing issue, but I loved every speaker, the enthusiasm and the energy they brought to the every topic that was discussed, and moreover the topic on sports, that is my greatest weakest area in my life. I have never participated in sports in my whole life, and I wanted to ask the question that what was the negative effects on my life. What do you think are the negative effects of not participating in sports in my entire life? How did it affect me in a negative manner? I would have learned to know from, I could hear so many sports people, so I would have loved to know the answer for that, and I would love to learn from it, like, because I have not been a sports person, what are the things which I have not learned from life, what are the life lessons which I have not learned. So I enjoyed speaking, and I like the competency level of every speaker out here. I love the mood. Everybody seems very jolly and happy, and this is my first experience to be with you people who are quite at a competent level as compared to I attended one more Toastmasters club, but they were not at that level. So I liked it overall. Uh, I just felt that I should not have been evaluated today because I did not know anything of the rules actually. So that is why I mentioned it in the chat box. Otherwise, I feel the ambience is very good out here.
And we obviously can discuss about sports later, but I don't think you missed much, and whatever you miss you can always start now and play some sport. We are never too late on that front. And with that, I think we have gotten feedback from all our guests. Expect our regular guest from our sister club and a huge contributor to our meetings, Toastmaster Surjit. Would you like to share your feedback?
I don't have any type of feedback, but I like the way you handled the backouts and all those things. So there was a lot of learning from you as well, because I am associate VP in my club. So this problem is also with me in the spirit. So there are a lot of learning from you and from this PPTM. So thank you all for such learning. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Surjit, and you obviously are doing a brilliant job as a VP head of your club, associate VP head of your club. Next, I would like to go to Toastmaster Rupinder, and so Rupinder, do you have the certificates ready? Yeah, please take over the stage. You're on mute.
Okay, what's that he wishes so, my cousin Westmoreland? If we are marked to die, then we are enough to do our country loss, and if to live, the fewer men, the greater the share of honor. These immortal lines from St. Crispin's Day speech, Henry V, William Shakespeare, personifies what we can do with so little. Another quote that comes to mind is by Mother Teresa, which says that uh, we the ungrateful, okay, I'll come back to you with Mother Teresa. First of all, let's just go through the oh yes, it is we the unwilling, led by the unknowing, are doing the impossible for the ungrateful. We've done so much with so little that now we can literally make anything out of nothing. And today was a personification, especially that panel discussion. Now let's just go into our role players and how they performed, starting with the best table topic speaker. So we have 3 table topic speakers today, and the third best table topic speaker today did not want to be evaluated, wanted to be excused from evaluation. But guess what? Many congratulations, Sagarika Devbarman. I want to see you as a Toastmaster as soon as possible. Our second best table topic speaker today is Samriddhi Garg. Welcome back, Samriddhi, and welcome back into the awards list. You see, in sporting culture, we often say normal service resumes. That is when somebody who's absolutely informed starts to play the innings or the game that they're expected to play. And today we saw normal service resuming in the form of the best table topic speaker. Welcome back, Jim Vaughan. And congratulations. The best auxiliary role player. Okay, we had a tie here at best auxiliary role player. So one of them was obviously this moron called Rupinder Singh, who just called out how wrong you were and made you feel guilty for the rest of your living existence. But the person who also deserved and who deserves a better round of applause is our counter, Toastmaster Anshu Juneja, especially given the fact that she took this role literally 2 hours before the meeting started. So many congratulations, Anshu. My only request to you, Anshu, is next time register with your name. I had difficulty looking up your name. Then I saw somebody called Subhit Juneja, who I assume is your husband, and Raghav, who I know is your son. So please take care of that. The best role player, again, we had a tie this time. Now let's see who our 2 best role players were today. First of all, Priyamvada Mehta, you've made it a habit of being among the awards. Last time you played the Toastmaster of the meeting, you got the best role player award, and here it comes to you again. And that was a standing ovation award as well. Our next best role player again took up a role at the last moment. Many congratulations, Mehul Sehgal, and thank you for being our general evaluator today. And I will agree that it was one of the better general evaluation roles that I have seen. Thankfully, there was no tie for the best speech evaluator. Like I said, normal service resumes, and we had Padma Kumar back to doing what he's doing best. In fact, for Padma and for Jim, if I was to introduce them in a Toastmasters meeting, I'll say when they are not winning the best table topic speech awards, or when they are not winning the best evaluator awards, they are giving a speech. And I would like now to introduce and go with that. Thank you. The best speaker award, both speakers were qualified, and that was a relief to know. But again, there was no tie this time around. And this person features in the award list, has been featuring in the award list. My only wish is that he could name himself completely so that I don't have to go about searching his name over and over again. But many congratulations, Amit Nandan, for that excellent, excellent, excellent speech. With that, I am done. I will stop sharing the screen. And I will now like to ask Unique if he wants me to stop the recording or not.
Yes, with that, we would like to take leave from all our audience, and Toastmaster Rupinder, please close the recording.